Hello, 30-minute missions fans. So we have the Cielnova in green. This is 144 scale, so it'll fit in with your high grade and your real grade Gundams just fine. It says it's from 2020. Here's some nice little images. It's kind of like looks like an AWACS, you know, with the radome thing, but it happens to be a humanoid-looking robot figure that's giant in size. All right. Oh, well, that's interesting. A little color coding to make it easier to assemble. And it's number 28 in the 30-minute missions lineup. Hopefully it'll be a fast build. I think this is a game. It's not actually how long it takes to build the model. But I'm not going to bother painting these things. I'm just going to clip them and put them together. So we'll see how it goes. Let's take a look at the instructions though, see if there's anything outstanding there. There's a little story. I'm not going to read it right now, but maybe later. There you go. You can get accessory packs and all that stuff to modify. And all these 30-minute missions have these 3mm holes and a lot of clips that you can interchange with other ones and just create. They become Lego blocks pretty much. So you can make all sorts of weird combinations of stuff. But for now I'm going to keep them all separate until I get bored of them, and then I'll mash them together. If I separate them, I won't remember what parts belong to what robot. Yeah, so it's here, it's mentioning the hard points there. Yeah, look at that thing, it's getting wacky. And then you mix and match colors with other ones. Cielnova pieces. Alright, well, you want to check the runners, make sure all those parts are there. There's no glue necessary, as with most Bandai kits. I think all Bandai kits. Some poly caps in there. And you just gotta be able to look at numbers and arrows. So, as usual, I'm gonna put this to some music, fast forward, and then we'll do a review at the end. Well, there we are, and I gotta say, this might be the fastest model kit I've built on this channel. It took about 40 minutes for me to put this together, and I sanded a lot of the nubs down. And then maybe another 20 minutes to put on the stickers, so maybe an hour. And I was videoing this thing, so if I actually didn't do this with a video, I could have probably done this in 40 minutes total, maybe even 30. The reason why it's so easy is almost everything is symmetric. Like this entire leg, this entire arm, they're all symmetric. They're just identical, so it's quite fast, right? There are 4 extra parts, by the way. I have no clue. Basically, I think this is a hip extender that goes inside there. So if you want to bring those ball joints out for the hip joints outwards, that's what these would be for. But these are a mystery. I'm not sure what they belong on, but they don't really belong on this one. But I'm going to start a box of random 30-minute missions parts. Alright, so we got a classic like James Bond 007 pose going on. Just to show you the stickers, since I didn't talk about it at the beginning. It's nice that they give you large black and white, small black and white, and then there's some chassis numbers, black and white, and then 4 small and large insignias, or I'm not sure what those insignias are, but these numbers will come in handy because the Volpanova tank had no stickers to my recollection, so I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, basically I have 28, that's actually an 8 that you see on this, because this is model kit number 28, so this will help me identify the parts whenever I decide to break this apart and join it with something else. Alright, let's get into the articulation and other bits. So this Roy is actually the backpack. Although I don't really, I'm not sure how this would stand on its own. Oh, I guess maybe it could stand like that. No, not really. I didn't actually pay attention to the instructions on this. Hold on. Yeah, the instructions say nothing about this walking on its own. You probably have to buy an option part set, but because there's some pegs and holes, you can Maybe add some legs to it or something. I'm not sure. Alright, well, that's that thing. Oddly, the instructions have the whole of the crotch in front, whereas I do feel like maybe that would be better. You could just flip the legs around, it's no big deal, but I did it like the instructions. So the head here, there's a pivoting neck, as you can see there, right? And then there's a ball joint on it, but it kind of collides with the... It collides in here somehow. There's not much left to right tilting. Yeah, not really much going on by way of tilting, just front and back. But it can look up pretty well. It actually reminds me of the alien from the first Halo video game. This head. Okay, so there's the articulation. And that little green mono eye in there is just so hard to see because it's so recessed. But look at that. With a UV light, it'll light up nicely. Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. Anyways, don't flash UV lights too much. Stuff gives you skin cancer and takes out your eyes. Alright, so you can see here with the shoulder, there's a butterfly piece of plastic. And then, actually, both of these are plastic. There's no polycap here. So, I feel like these joints pop out in and out a little too easily. So, I guess it keeps things from breaking. But, yeah, it makes posing annoying. So here's a hinge, obviously, in the shoulder. And then the bicep will rotate. And then you have a hinge here for the arm. And it can go pretty far of a bend, you know, much more than 90 degrees. Alright, so here you can also hinge this armor piece, so that pegs around that, and so you can hinge it up, and but see, look, it's all falling apart. Okay, so the wrist is a pretty long ball peg, so you get a lot of good articulation, but there it goes again, popping out again. So it might get frustrating, all this popping in and out. Oh, one nice thing is this. Now this becomes a shield. Cool, I like that. Okay, now this is really annoying. This polycap here, it just slides into the back here, but you saw it fall out so easily. I almost wish like there was an extra piece of plastic you can jam up in there afterwards so it wouldn't fall apart so much. Like honestly, that shouldn't fall apart unless you take the back out, right? But it'll just pop out with the whole thing like that. And it's not cupping it, you know? It's basically a ball, a sphere going inside of an open cylinder or a pipe. It's not like a ball recess. You know, so there's not much friction other than one contact ring, you know, which I think is why it falls apart so easily. Okay, well, anyways, you can see there's the bottom now. Boy, there's a polycap here for the bottom. So the upper crunch is really good. The back, no, but that's actually very common to human beings. We can't bend our backs too far. But the front bend is pretty good. And then you have the lower ball peg, but it's colliding, you know. This disc is colliding with this giant lower disc here, so all it can really do is get rotation more than angling. Okay, see, it fell out again. So if you go too far, it just falls out. Maybe I'll jam some poster putty up in there later because that won't damage it, but that's kind of annoying. Alright, I really like how far the arms can bend. Look at that, that's really cool. Can get great poses. Alright, so the hip here, it does have a drop down. There's that drop down, the standard one. And as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure you could pop in this wider one if you want the legs to stick out further, because it is kind of a chunky leg. But that drop down, you know, will go all the way forward or all the way down. So right now it's in the forward position. This one's in the back position. Right, so you can see there's quite a bit of difference if you look at the peg here and the peg there, right? So that'll help out as far as getting a stance, you know, or you can make the thing taller, right, if you just drop it vertically. Alright, so yeah, obviously that whole thing rocks back and forth, and then this thing spins on that peg, so that's good. And then this is a hinge also, so it swings the leg out, you know, as far until the armor collides with itself, so that's good. And then that thing has a peg going into the upper thigh, and you can rotate that. Then we have a double hinge here, top and bottom, for the knee. Let me get this leg back into normal position. So you can get, that's really amazing, right? The armor gets in the way. Yeah. So if you take this piece off, I guess you can, yeah, you can get really unnatural, weird positions. So that's neat. And I like how this knee armor blends when it's all put back together. So top and bottom. So it just becomes like a giant shield of a leg. It's pretty cool. Okay, so that's that. And then you already saw me take this off. And then this has a mount point for like a C-clip. These knees are actually C-clips. Same with this thing. This is a C-clip here. So the ankle C-clip, you know, left and right rocker is fantastic. And then there's a polycap ball here, so you can get some front and back foot movement pretty good, right? As much as the armor will allow. So, and then obviously you could rotate that whole foot around. So pretty decent bottom of the foot details even, and that's a 3mm thing. You can put it on a stand if you want, make it like jumping out like that or something like that, sprinting. Yeah, so it's just this. This is really the weakest part of this particular one. You know what? Hold on. I always have poster putty here, so let's see what happens if we jam up this. First, let's jam that forward. Then let's jam this in there. And then first right. Poster putty doesn't seem to stain, ever harden, or anything like that. So, alright, so I think now, you know, it's going to be less prone to falling apart. And it's still being a putty, you can still, you know, pose it. It might eventually squish out, but yeah, it works. Yeah, side to side torse, I didn't mention that, but that's pretty good because it's a ball. So as far as posing, I find it's easiest to just hold the feet down and then move it around until you find the pose that you want. But that balance. Yeah, there we go. Okay, well, so that's basically it. I mean, like all the 30-minute missions, you can take them apart pretty easily, and you can start mixing and matching parts. But again, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that in a different video when I start combining stuff later. But it's nice to get some random extra parts here and there, instead of having to buy the option part set. Let's see how this looks without the radome. Oh, that still looks okay, actually. Ooh, be nice to put a gun up there. Oh, one thing about the gun that I don't like about on all these 30-minute missions is how they don't use the round interface, you know, this round peg interface. All the guns seem to use a rectangular tab, which makes no sense, right? If they're around, you could rotate parts and then just swap them to everywhere else. I'm not sure why they choose to do that. I do feel like they could easily have a round peg, right? I mean, they literally have a round hole there. So a really stubby pistol, or one with a a silencer or something. Let's get this one in this hand. Let's try to close before we close this video out. Oh, yeah. So you can't be too overzealous with the posing, or it's going to fall apart on you. It's kind of an umbrella in the front backwards position. Okay, well, it's a nice nice colorway as well. It's like a really light green and then a really dark olive green, and it's not too glossy, even though, yeah, I guess it's a little shiny, but it's not overly glossy. So I'm pretty happy to have this, and I'll get a few more 30-minute missions videos out there. So thanks for watching today. We'll see you then.